Naanha si Judith Flores. I arrived with my family, my parents and siblings in 1957, and we have lived here ever since. We were the first white family to be stationed in Inalahan, where my parents were teaching. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. My brother is 2 years younger than me, and then a sister 2 years younger than him, and a youngest sister 2 years younger. So I am the oldest. You know, that's one of my fondest memories growing up in Inalahan. We lived in the middle of the village. We rented the second story from the Diego family, and Commissioner Diego was the longtime chief commissioner of Inalahan, very well known. And so we became like family. They had 12 children, so I had several in the family that were about my age. And I recall, you know, that we would be sitting in the evenings, and this was before there was television, and it was very quiet. Mm-hmm. And people would be in their outside kitchens, on their front landings, just enjoying the breeze. And somebody would start, and you could hear it, and all of a sudden, my friends would say, "Wait, somebody's singing," and they look forward to it. It's just so magical. So it's usually the people, the Mano clan over on the seaside, that mm-hmm. would start, and it might be often it was just somebody doing their work, and they might have a slight grudge, or they wanted to make fun of somebody next door, and they would just start, you know, just a little catchy 4-line verse, and pretty soon somebody would answer. And depending on, you know, what was going on in the village, it could be making fun of each other, or it could be, there might be some romantic undertones, making, you know, just a social way to vent. Mm-hmm. And it was just fun. And then as the song went on, it became a competition, and it would be between houses. Another neighbor would chime in because they had something that they could say, and they could, you know, the object is to make it rhyme, to follow the tune and to make it rhyme, and to follow that format. So you know, there were all these factors in it, you know, being clever, making it rhyme, getting your point across, and the many layers of meaning that went with it. And it was just a very delightful way to spend an evening. I can tell you, when television came, that took over the entertainment. Mm. And again, I have this picture of the first television in the village, and houses were open. Most of them didn't even have screens. And of course, the custom is to take off your zoris, your slippers at the door. And the first people who had television were just down the street from me, and you knew they had their TV on because there was a dozen zoris outside the door. All the neighbors were coming to watch TV. Mm-hmm. And that became the primary form of entertainment. And it just continued from there. I mean, how many centuries have they tried to wipe out the Chamorro language? And, you know, it was since the naval government, you know, was, I'm not saying they were being malicious about it. It was just, this is how you get ahead in the English-speaking world. You need to speak English. So that was constant to parents. And then the other factor was you get more things piled on top of that. You get the TV in English, and you get all the advertisements and the footage and the movies and everything from the States. And it even went further back than that. You had the movies at the theaters ever since the naval government came in the early 1900s. They had the Gaiety Theater and the cowboy songs and the cowboy, culture. So there were all these influences that changed the life more rapidly than I think it had ever been changed. And that was kind of what happened. I think just the makeup of the family. It's very important, especially down here. I think that there was always extended family, and now there's more of a nuclear family where it's the mother, the father, and the kids. And if they're lucky, they have a grandmother, grandfather, an aunt, to help out, because what has changed so much is that both parents are working, and they have to work because of the economy today. The economy's changed. You can't go out into the, and you can farm, but it just doesn't pay the bills that are required today. So that's an unfortunate thing, I think, that has changed the lifestyle of the kids today. And again, the grandmother, if they're lucky, they have a grandmother and somebody who can help carry on some of the practices. And if they don't, unfortunately, their babysitter is the electronics. I pray for that. I really wish it could happen. And it depends on this generation taking control of the Chamorro language again, learning how to speak it. And because there's such, to make a poem, you have to have command of the language. And very few people now have that command of manipulating the language to make poetry and to make songs. So it depends on this generation. I feel for the kids today because they don't hear Kantan CHamorita, and if they hear it, they don't understand it, and that's so sad. I always want them to be proud of their culture, to be proud of their heritage.